Beyond the aerial battles and the smoky skies, the Battle of Britain. It was a magnificent cast. Christopher Plummer, Michael Redgrave, Trevor Howard, names that once brought glory to the screen. Now, more than half a century later, most of them no longer have surnames. What happened when the cameras stopped rolling? Their true fate was as poignant as the war they depicted. Laurence Olivier as Air Marshal Sir Hugh Dowding, born on May 22, 1907. Laurence Olivier starred as Air Marshal Sir Hugh Dowding in the film The Battle of Britain at the age of 62, portraying a brilliant and astute military leader who vividly captured the indomitable spirit of the British Royal Air Force. This role marked a crucial moment in Olivier's illustrious career, already full of significant achievements. He achieved fame in 1948 with his performance in Hamlet, for which he won the Academy Award for Best Actor, and again in 1940 for Rebecca, and in 1955 for Richard III. Olivier's personal life, however, was turbulent. His first marriage to Jill Esmond ended in divorce in 1940, and his relationship with Vivien Leigh was marked by difficulties due to her mental health problems. Olivier had 3 children, but his relationship with them was quite unstable. He suffered from severe arthritis, which affected his later years. His net worth was estimated to be around $5 million. Olivier passed away on July 11, 1989, at the age of 82, a victim of kidney failure, leaving behind a remarkable, yet disturbing, legacy. Entry: Christopher Plummer, Trung Colin Harvey. Born on December 13, 1929, Christopher Plummer took on the role of Lieutenant Colonel Colin Harvey at the age of 39, portraying a courageous and talented pilot with a daring spirit. The role was part of Plummer's illustrious career, which spanned theater and film, with credits in films such as The Sound of Music, 1965, and The Insider, 1999. In 2010, he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his role in The Premiere, 2010, and a Golden Globe Award in the same year, becoming one of the most acclaimed actors. Plummer's personal life, however, was fraught with difficulties. His marriage to Tammy Grimes ended in divorce, leading to a strained relationship with his daughter, Amanda Plummer. He struggled with alcoholism, which affected his health and relationships. His marriage to Elaine Taylor was long, but not without challenges. His net worth was estimated at $20 million. Plummer passed away on February 5, 2021, at the age of 91, due to complications following a fall, leaving behind an extraordinary cinematic legacy, but also scars. Michael Redgrave as Lieutenant Bad. Born on March 20, 1908, Michael Redgrave took on the role of Lieutenant Bad at the age of 61, creating an authoritarian and intellectual character that highlighted the complexities of military command. Redgrave's career spanned theater and film, with iconic roles in The Lady Vanishes, 1938, and The Browning Version, 1951, for which he received an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. However, his personal life was marked by tragedies. His marriage to Rachel Kempson remained solid, but he struggled with work pressures and his son Corin's mental health problems. Redgrave also suffered from Parkinson's disease, which affected his career. Her fortune was estimated at around $2 million, but in her later years, she lived alone and struggled with health problems. Redgrave died on March 21, 1985, at the age of 77, leaving behind a brilliant, yet regrettable, artistic legacy. Nigel Patrick as Colonel Hope. Born on May 2, 1912, Nigel Patrick portrayed Colonel Hope at the age of 57. He brought to life a tenacious officer, capturing the spirit of elegant leadership of the British elite of the time. Patrick's performance exuded absolute authenticity, portraying commanders who maintained their composure even when the world around them seemed to crumble. With his refined manners and impeccable acting, he personified the traditional class of officers. In the 1950s and 1960s, Patrick's career was very successful, and his films included The League of Gentlemen, You, and The Barrier. His acting career earned him several nominations for the prestigious BAFTA. However, in stark contrast to his sophisticated on-screen persona, his personal life was marked by a series of romantic failures. His 3 marriages ended in bitter divorces, leaving him as a lonely and mysterious figure in the eyes of his peers. This emotional disillusionment led him down a path of severe alcoholism, an addiction that ruined his health and tarnished his reputation in the film industry. His career began to decline in the late 1970s, when alcoholism deprived him of the mental acuity necessary to memorize scripts. As a result, his estimated net worth at the time of his death was only $1.2 million, most of which he spent on a lavish lifestyle and an expensive divorce settlement. He died on September 21, 1981, at the age of 69, from lung cancer, a result of years of smoking and excessive alcohol consumption. Nigel Patrick passed away peacefully, leaving behind a remarkable career, but also a poignant legacy of a talent unable to overcome its own limitations. Kenneth Moore como Colonel Baker. Born on September 20th, 1914, Kenneth Moore portrayed Colonel Baker at the age of 54. In the film, he brought to life a reliable officer who unites combat units. What made Moore's performance unique was the absolute authenticity with which he conveyed it. Based on his own combat experiences in the British Royal Navy during World War II, Moore didn't need to exaggerate to capture the essence of a soldier. He understood the feeling of leading young men to their deaths and the weight of responsibility. Before this monumental project, Moore's career was already established with classic works such as Extend the Sky, 1956, a film for which he won a BAFTA Award for Best Actor for his role as the one-legged pilot Douglas Bader, a war masterpiece, The Longest Day, 1962. His personal life, however, was a sad melody, with many deep voices. His first marriage was peaceful, but the second was full of constant conflict and tension. Family disputes caused Moore, once a cheerful and vibrant man, to become withdrawn, melancholic, and isolated from others. The greatest tragedy occurred when he began developing symptoms of Parkinson's disease in the 1970s. This debilitating disease severely impaired his mobility and voice, interrupting and ultimately ending his film career. Although his net worth was estimated at around $1.5 million, he used most of it to cover the high costs of his treatment. In his later years, he lived in almost complete isolation from the outside world, battling the disease in solitude. Moore died on July 12, 1982, at the age of 67, due to serious complications from Parkinson's disease, leaving behind a respected cinematic legacy, but also a profound sense of loss for fans who mourned the loss of a talent destroyed by fate. Ralph Richardson, Sir David Kelly Ellen. Ralph Richardson, one of the three great masters of British theatre, was born on December 19, 1902, and at the age of 66, he played Sir David Kelly. In the film, he brought to life a brilliant Swiss diplomat who tried to avert war through secret diplomatic channels. Richardson brought elegance, composure, and wisdom to the role, helping the audience understand that war was not fought only in the air, but also at the negotiating tables of diplomacy. When Richardson took on this role, he was already a living legend, thanks to films like Fallen Idol, 1948, Dr. Zhivago, 1965, the BAFTA award-winning film The Barrier, 1952, and the New York Film Critics Circle Award. Few people know, however, that he was deeply affected by the horrific memories of World War II when he served in the Marine Air Corps. The images of devastation triggered a long-lasting anxiety disorder. His marriage also faced enormous challenges due to his demanding work schedule and habit of overworking, which led to long periods of emotional detachment from his wife and children. In his later years, Richardson also faced unexpected financial difficulties due to war debts and mismanagement of his assets. Despite this, he maintained the bearing of a refined gentleman until the end of his life. He died on October 10, 1983, at the age of 80, after suffering a sudden stroke. His legacy is not limited to iconic performances, but also includes a lesson in resilience from a true artist in the face of the storms of time and era. Susanna York as Sergeant Maggie Harvey. Born on January 9, 1939, Susanna York played Sergeant Maggie Harvey at age 30. One of the few female characters in the film, York not only radiated beauty but also embodied the dedication of an officer, representing the thousands of women in the Women's Air Support Force, YAF, who worked tirelessly in the bunkers coordinating flights. Her performance was vibrant, expressive, and sensitive, highlighting the irreplaceable role of women in wartime. At that time, York was at the peak of her career. She played a role in They Shoot Horses, right? 1969, and received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Tom Jones, 1963, won a BAFTA Award. In the 1960s, York was considered an icon of intellectual beauty and free spirit. However, her real life was a tragic romance. Her marriage to Michael Wells, although it began with intense love, ended in divorce. However, the greatest pain, which haunted her for the rest of her life, was the loss of her beloved son due to a rare genetic disease. The grief of a mother burying a child led her to periods of deep depression. Furthermore, Mrs. York herself battled multiple myeloma, a cancer of the bone marrow, for years. The disease left her bones fragile and weak, causing unbearable pain and severely limiting her ability to work. Despite this, she lived her final years with remarkable courage, continuing her charitable work and writing children's books. With an estimated net worth of $2 million, she lived modestly and devoted most of her time to her remaining family. Mrs. York passed away on January 15, 2011, at the age of 72, leaving behind a poetic and moving artistic legacy. Trevor Howard plays the role of Air Force Deputy Commander Keith Park. Born on September 29, 1913, Trevor Howard, at age 55, took on the role of Keith Park, the second in command of the Royal Air Force. Demonstrating a mature acting style, Keith Park was not just a historical figure. He was the architect of London's defense system during the most intense period of the 1940s. Howard portrayed a calm, determined, yet pressured commander who emulated the brilliant defensive strategy of the Royal Air Force, RAF, during the Luftwaffe siege. To ensure the verisimilitude of the role, Howard meticulously analyzed the behavior of senior officers of the time, who maintained impassive faces even when their squadrons of Spitfires were being shot down en masse. Howard's career has been stellar for decades. Audiences have never forgotten his portrayal of the elegant doctor in A Brief Meeting, 1945, or The Nervousness of the Third Man, 1949. These successes earned him an Oscar nomination for the film His Children and Lovers, 1960, and a BAFTA Key Award, 1958. However, behind his film stardom lay a tumultuous personal life. He was known for his strong, sometimes stubborn and difficult-to-control personality, which contributed to his memorable roles but also led to serious personal problems. His marriage to Helen Cherry, though long-lasting, was fraught with difficulties and began to crumble in the late 1950s. Loneliness and the pressures of the film industry led Howard to severe alcoholism and prolonged depression. He faced harsh public criticism for his extravagant lifestyle, and the long nights spent in London bars gradually damaged his health. Although his net worth was estimated at $3 million, an impressive sum, money failed to comfort him. In his later years, Howard lived almost entirely alone in a small house, and his health was severely affected by complications arising from alcoholism. He died on January 7, 1988. At the age of 74, leaving behind a brilliant career, but also a life filled with poignant memories of his glorious and tragic personal life. Cottage cheese like Baron Jürgens von Richter. In the film, the role of Baron Richter was played by the German-Austrian actor Kurt Jürgens, born on December 13, 1915. At 53 years old, he embodied a shrewd, elegant, and at the same time imposing German diplomat who played a key role in presenting the perspective of the other side of the conflict. His role highlighted the intense political tensions that hung in the air even before the first shots were fired. With his imposing stature and deep voice, Jürgens was nicknamed the Gentle Giant, but on screen he always exuded an overwhelming energy. Jürgens' international career flourished after the war with films such as The Enemy Below, 1957, and The Spy Who Came Back from the Cold, 1965. He won the Volpi Cup at the Venice Film Festival and received a Golden Globe nomination, solidifying his position as one of Hollywood's most popular European actors. However, behind his impeccable appearance lay deep psychological wounds from the Nazi era. Although he did not directly serve in the Nazi army, and was even imprisoned in a concentration camp for refusing to cooperate, Jürgens always felt an unspeakable sense of guilt and melancholy for his homeland. His love life was turbulent, marked by 5 marriages, 3 of which ended in bitter divorces, leaving him with strained and distant relationships with his children. He turned to alcohol to cope with the pain, and his severe addiction gradually eroded his once robust health. Despite an estimated net worth of $4 million and the ownership of several luxury properties, Jürgens did not have a real family. Sadly, he died suddenly of a heart attack on June 18, 1982, at the age of 66, ending a brilliant film career, but one filled with personal tragedies and incurable pain. Robert Shaw as Lieutenant Colonel Skipper. Born on August 9, 1927, Robert Shaw portrayed Lieutenant Colonel Skipper at the age of 42, embodying the extraordinary strength and experience of a pilot who contributed to the indomitable spirit of the Air Force fighters. Following the film, Shaw's career flourished with roles in Jaws 1975 and From Russia with Love 1963, for which he received a Golden Globe nomination for A Man for All Seasons 166, and a BAFTA award for The Witcher 1973. Shaw's personal life, however, was marked by alcoholism, which led to the end of his marriage to Mary Ure, with whom he had 3 children. The tumultuous marriage and Ure's death only exacerbated his suffering. He had an estimated net worth of $2 million, but his extravagant lifestyle led him to financial difficulties. Shaw died of a heart attack on August 28, 1978, at the age of 51, leaving behind a memorable, yet deeply regrettable, cinematic legacy. Below, we present a detailed and expanded version of each character, exploring the historical context, the psychology of the role, and the hidden aspects of the actors' lives, maintaining the size and formatting indicated with an asterisk